Hello, good afternoon. This is 16th December 2020. Brain power. I was watching environmental issues and then also health issues, like we are all here having the masks and having this vaccine. 7 billion humans not vaccinated by public workers, which are, I don't know, 700, and it is 10 vaccines per day. And but this is brain uh, work, and this is the brain power. So, can we eliminate this environment challenge? If we have one brain, your brain, yes, I don't have brain, so I'm trying to learn from you. Then how can we stop emissions to the atmosphere so that the globe survives longer? For you, it's all for you because I have no brain. So the question is whether this brain activity it is expanded like a virus. It's a positive intrinsic value virus, your brain, and then your neighbor, and then your friend, your mom, your dad, your business, your business person generating utility, and then it is 7 billion brains. So sometimes perhaps it is not a question of having one very IQ brain and then making this huge progress, because if there is 7 billion in this planet and we are not responsible, how can we stop this environment challenge? And if the environment challenge has to be put in a list of priorities, intrinsic value, utility, so then is it more important to feed the kids and educate the kids? Well, first is to feed them. Yes. So how many kids in this world need to be fed today? Do we have a brain to calculate? Because perhaps these kids are close to you and close to me. So we can learn how to do this. I think in the previous books I wrote, about 3 books and the videos, I explained very clear this is the tax that eliminates the food from the kids. So if you are in the water consortium and you are in the council and you get 100,000 euros wage for doing nothing, just feudal activities, remember, with your 100,000 euros as mayor of your town, you can feed, say, how many kids per year? Well, imagine how many people in the board of your council, and then your province, and then the local government, and then the central government, and then the European government. Is 5 institutions. We can feed about 1 billion hungry kids. Well, is this brain power? Well, I think it is. But of course, if there is like you, only one person in this world thinking like this, it is a priority to feed the kids. Yes, I think it's priority number 1. Which is priority number 2, I think, is to educate the kids. The kids of the world must have brain power. They must have a system that educates them very fast and just for the indicators that are intrinsic for their future. For example, what industry, what retail, what hospitality business they are going to work in. Well, the lifespan of those, because tax is 0. Insurance companies also are like banks. They are going to be digital. Sea, maritime officer, it is like having a huge potential, not because the activities from sea, but because the mentality that the tides go up and down. We have high pressure, low pressure, and we have to adapt daily. Say every minute is different from the previous wave, so we have to be ready for its new situation, and its new brain manages the situation in a different way. But we all must fight then later for the security. It is very important, like Kiva program .fi for these anti-bullying 9 years old, eliminating bullying. Yes, but first we must fit, then educate, and then eliminate bullying. Then, of course, we have the health. I mean, this coronavirus is showing us that we need the brain power. We need the brain power of 7 billion communicated, so that from day one we stop talking together, and then day two we can talk together, 7 billion of humans, and then one person can be isolated, and that's it. We don't need to isolate 7 billion, but it is clear that the elections is more important than your health. And then if it is one person with brain power, or if it is 7 billion, perhaps, as I mentioned, my little IQ does not really interfere with the target of the environment, the planet surviving for perpetuity, eternal Earth planet. And yes, but this is after we have a list of targets, and then of course we need very, very intellectual people to do these targets. Like, it is very important that we reduce these targets, and we have this white side and we have the dark side. So let's focus only in the light side, the utility side. And that is very important, to have this brain power. I believe 7 billion humans together working for eliminating the kids' hunger and education, and the rights they have of living in properly, and having a household and health. It is key element. Of course, the environment, it is very, very important. But if we don't have these targets really clear, very simple, and today is nice, beautiful day for that. These very intellectual government organizations or institutions, that they work a little bit to make this definition of what are the targets. I mentioned that we could obtain this if we had a 5% tax for all humans. It's very simple. I think 5% covers the health, security, and the education. So education, we have the Finnish system. The anti-bullying system is $1 per year per kid. It's peanuts. I mean, why aren't we using this? Then, of course, we can eliminate the same way this poverty for the kids, because if we had a 5% tax rate, could we, business persons, and could we, workers, pay another 5% of our wage to eradicate forever the hunger and the poverty for the kids? Well, I think if it was for you, I am sure that it would be a yes, no problem. And if it was from me, I would say, of course, there's no problem. And then later, we could eliminate this in the time that it was for yesterday. So then, once we have these, let's say the light targets, then, which is in the food, the health, the security, and the education. The education also, we have seen that the Finnish system, kids don't have to go to school until 6 years old. Yes, because that's when the learning really could start. And it is more important, the quality of the teacher, than the student. And this is very, very important. Of course, if you are in a country like Spain that you cannot fire the teachers, then of course, then teachers end up firing students. It's very simple, just fire with fire, sword with sword. And therefore, it is very common that kids are not granted the 100% success, a happy professional future. And then the system must be diverted towards all kind of professions from since they are kids, a very small age, and that's the key element. It's not just taking a train and just getting to I don't know somewhere, and then you are 23, and then you realize that sorry, it was my wrong train. Yes, why? Because the teacher. Yes, because the students are all the same. So it's a question of teachers. Then we have to regard very well the teachers, and this is a very key important problem. Regarding health, now with these digital appliances, we can cut a lot of ministries of health because all we need is a vaccine. Thank you very much. Okay, please, you have the vaccine first, and I don't need ministry, I need the vaccine. I think it's clear now with this coronavirus that we don't need these ministries and these yes, governmental issues to have this virus spread. And when we are going to eliminate it, don't you think it's funny that they don't even have a clear policy how to? It's very funny. Then we look at the security is the same thing. Seafarers are frontier workers, and these frontier workers have a different legislation, and then when we have these coronavirus fighting policies, each government has a different one. No, we must have one. I mean, and stop poverty for kids. And please, if you are in the public sector, you must realize you are responsible, because then if you grow this like going into private buildings, not sharing the cost of the public side, then you are generating poverty. Yes, we know. It is a question that more brains with this digital means realize and then pass, like, subscribe, so that they learn that it is really collateral. Every dollar overspent in the public side, it is going to have $10 collateral. So damage is times 10 damage. You must know that the public sector is what they do. And so if we have the health, the security, and the education, then the collateral side that we are making times 10 then it is times 10 the poverty for the kids. So it's very simple. Now, if we go towards the white side, then it is the positive area, because it does cost the same thing to say something nice than something not so nice. It costs the same time. It is the same. So I can say good or I can say bad. It costs the same. Question is that if I say bad, I generate 10 times more collateral effect towards the dark side. So then I have 10 more dark soldiers. So this is the brain power that you must understand, please. And then if we have the white side doing just one good, it generates 10 good. So total is 11. Therefore, the soldiers of the light are then times 10. So it is time we start to realize that this is a fact. So it doesn't cost much to talk about environment, because it is times 11. But for this, you must have brain power of the numbers, because we don't need to be so intelligent to say that good, bad, and then the effects, the collateral effects we generate, positive, are immense and are beautiful. So we must have very clear priority when we talk about environment. And yes, well, people are not going to buy cars, not because the environment, also because the cost of the taxes. And the institutions, they have 5 institutions with different traffic, social security, insurance, tax, different doors. And then why don't we just call Alexa and get it done? And that's why they are trying to fight these digital companies that are growing so much, because governments just don't know what to do with this power. They lost the battle. The question is, can you surrender because you represent the humans and provide them 5% digital tax? Unite to the white side, the digital side, so that we can have a 5% tax then. humans can start losing this poverty fight for the kids, so that we can educate, secure them, and then provide them health throughout their lives. And then later we can talk about more intrinsic utility ways, perpetual, like ocean-linked activities and plenty other maritime activities. And then we can look at the energy and yes, and then by going wide side, perhaps in the collateral, we are taking care of our environment. So I thank you very much for your time, and I thank very much these people that thought that perhaps brain power number is the solution. It's not just your IQ being so important, so high, that it's going to solve the planet, but perhaps it is the number of IQs and then total number of IQ. Okay, so then 100%, two humans of 100% is total 200 IQ. It's very hard to find one person 200 IQ. But it's very obvious. The 2 is 200. So it's much than 1. And that's what I try to explain very simply, that it is very important for this Christmas. Thank you. Bye. Take care.